On our way back to Kentucky, I didn't bring you guys any videos this afternoon because there's no videos to bring. The camera doesn't actually get here until tomorrow. So Amy and I looked at two major consignments, spent 4 hours? 4 hours looking at two consignments. We went to Kentucky, which I'd already seen the horses I want to see for the most part. Some of them, I shouldn't say all of them, some of them. And then preferred equines. We had gone through those two consignments in entirety, found some good horses, but I had to get up to Dayton. Now, I was very apprehensive as I left Kentucky. Our best shot was Irresistible Sun, and it wasn't supposed to beat him, it was me. And that is a very frustrating thing. We'll talk about the entirety of the night thus far as we head back to Kentucky. So I'm going to do your videos tomorrow. I might actually do the opening tonight. I guess I can. We've got an hour and a half to get back to Lexington. So that's a distinct possibility. So let's start with Think of Galaxies. Was not herself tonight. Get out of there 26-2. Okay. Half and 55. That's kind of right in her wheelhouse, right? Down the back stretch, usually when she hears them coming, she'll start to pick up the bit and start to get a little revved up and racy. She didn't. She let that horse grind right up into her bridle, and then in the last turn I knew I was in trouble, and then obviously out of soap when we come out of the turn. We scoped her, no blood, no mucus. I suspect a 4-hour ship in the searing heat may have been the culprit, if I was to guess. When we raced her at Northfield, she was on the track, no shipping. When we raced her at the Meadows, on the track, no shipping. Ship her all the way down to Dayton, and she races very, very ordinary. So I think it's an easy fix, but before I don't want to get ahead of ourselves, need to take her blood and make sure that she didn't tie up, and if she did, how bad and how do we treat that? We won't know that until Monday. I don't think there was anything serious. When I left her about 35 minutes, 40 minutes after the race, she looked like she had cooled out okay, and she was in pretty good spirits. That's not to say that she couldn't have tied up, but if she did, it wasn't a major tie-up, more than enough to cause the race that we saw, but not enough to really impact her moving forward. So I'll know a better number and exactly know what took place when Tim draws the blood on Monday. But for now, tonight, pretty disappointing race. As I went in, now I'm really mad when I come off the track. I really expected. I didn't want to hear she bled. She must have lungs on her like an elephant. She did not bleed at all. I said, well, no mucus, no blood, okay, but what was that? I think we'll have a better idea on Monday. Now I'm a little on edge, come off the track. I thought Galaxies would probably put in a much better effort than that. Especially when I get to quarter 26-2, and as I'm crossing down to the front, I know myself and Tyler Smith had left. I knew where the favorites had got away, somewhere mid-pack, so they're going to be flushed first over. They have to come to me now. And half and 55, I'm thinking, I kind of got them where I want them right now. All I got to do is just leave her alone and let her get revved up getting into the last turn, throw quarter and 28 seconds at them, and that's it. Turn the lights out. And instead, quite a different result. Now I go on the track with Irresistible Sun. We got the 9-hole. I don't know. The gate's kind of flat here. I don't know how he's going to get out of there. I don't know how the race is going to shape up. He's one of the better horses. Now, if he had the 5-hole, he's 2-1. He's got the 9-hole. Tyler Smith's horse, who is also, we see Ty Lloyd all the time, who trains that horse. A nice colt. I know he's had a good year. There's some other really nice horses in there. Both Dan Nobles are pretty decent horses that were in there, and of course we have Sweeney, even the 7 horse. We got everybody pretty well was in the race, was okay. When I left out of there, I'm like, great. Tyler's going out of there. I'm going out of there. I know Chris Lems's horse doesn't corner the best, so I'll probably let to the front, and hopefully, if I'm lucky, because this is what I want, maybe Tyler will remove. Well, I'll tell you what, Tyler was going to sit up and take me. No, this is a $75,000 race. I can't blame him. But luckily, we're going along a little bit, and Chris Lems's horse can't keep up, and I'm able to drop in the 2-hole. Now, this game is a very difficult game, and it is probably one of the most humbling sports I've ever played. I remember back to the look on Chapman's face when he threw that fastball to the little guy's name, Jose Altuve. in Game 7, I think, when the Yankees were playing the Orioles. I remember they zoomed in on his face. I remember the face on Pete Carroll when they zoomed in on him after he called the play when they were going to throw the ball on the 5-yard line and it get intercepted. Now, obviously, that's the Super Bowl. That's the World Series. It's not quite the same thing, but I know the feeling. And, it just felt like if I had walked into the driver's room and Googled loser, a giant picture of me would have popped up on my phone. There's a lot of ways to feel dumb. Think of Galaxies. Clearly, there was something up with the man. It happens. And she'll bounce back. She's done it before. 3 times at least. But Irresistible Son. Now, I will make a defense for you. And regardless of the defense, we only focus on the finish. And the finish of that race was completely affected by me. I stay in the 2-hole, I win the race. I'm certain of it. Ty Lloyd second. Chris Lem's probably climbing over me, finishes third. I move out of the 2-hole, Chris Lems wins, Ty Lloyd second. I was lucky to be 4th place third. And I'll tell you how lucky I was. I come off the track and I'm mad at myself, and I said, Kane goes, geez, that Colt raced great. He said, I think I might have been 5th. He was 7th. He was beating me 2 lengths maybe. Sweeney said, what a nice horse. He's giving me a nice 3-year-old. I said, yeah, he steers good. He did everything great. He said, just cover was kind of flat. I said, yeah, I noticed things. So when we start into the backstretch, now watch the race. The horse on the front, Bob the Bomber, he's got the earplugs out and he's picking at him past the 3/8. We're not even to the turn yet. He's picking at him. I'm like, oh my God, this horse is done. And we're going to half in 57. I know that Bo Steele or whatever his name is there, Peter Wren's horse is going to be coming. There's a number of good horses in there, and they're coming. I can hear a horse advancing, and at that point, your decision made. You're committed to the 2-hole, or you come to the outside. Now, as it turns out, as Peter Wren was going past Chris Lenz, they kind of hooked arches, and he stopped them. So then we opened up 2 lengths. Well, I've already evacuated the 2-hole. Now I'm outside. But when I come out of the 2-hole, I'm like, thank God I moved. Because I'm thinking, gone. This horse is going to jog. He's going to win by 5 lengths. I clear him getting into the last turn. I'm just riding. I'm not really in a big hurry. I don't want to stretch him too hard. And then he softens it a bit. I said, I just cleared to the front. He got a little green. I said, hey, come on now. Tap him on the tail. He's at a soap. This was his first start Lasix because he was highly suspected of bleeding a little bit in Delaware. I've already left with him. I come out of the 2-hole. All this is racing through my head. And the culmination of it is a giant voice in my head screaming loser halfway down the lane. It is one of the most embarrassing, humbling, and frustrating things when you come out of the 2-hole and don't get by the horse that you come out of the 2-hole on. So now I'm mad, embarrassed, frustrated, but at the same time lucky. I know I'm 4th, and as I come off the track and we're talking about Sweeney, I'm mad. I look at the TV, Aaron's blinking. I'm trying to hear them. They said pylons, and Kane says, well, he might be placed 3rd because if he went through any of those last 4 pylons, those red pylons, they'll pitch him for sure. Sure enough, they showed the replay and he went through it. So I'm thinking, at least I'm 3rd, and Kane's 5th place 4th. Kane was 7th place 6th. So I'm mad at myself, right? I put the filly mare on the front. She walked. I looked like a loser. I came out of the 2-hole down the backstretch. Looked like a loser. And the 2 horses I got left drew the 7th hole, and they're both going to be 20-1. I thought, what a mission race. Great. We got everything we were going to get in that race. He raced very, very good. And then Smoking Hot Irish Girl down the backstretch, I kind of wiggle out through, and Trevor Smith's horse is backing up, and he exits the course because he's kind of got himself in a tough spot now. So the first guy goes through, I go through, and he comes back on the track a little bit. So I got to move over. And as I move over, Ronnie Gillespie and I get hooked up. And it kind of drags me back about 5 lengths. If that little incident doesn't happen, I'm a charging 2nd. I thought Smoking Hot Irish Girl, again, she raced great here last year. She raced great here again today. I thought she raced very, very good. Now, overall, I'm still a little upset. I know why I moved the horse, and I'll do it again. Ultimately, I can look at it from the other side and say, hey, if you don't move, and Peter Wren doesn't get hooked up at hook arches with Chris Lems, he probably clears him in the last turn, and you never get out. And then you feel like a real jackass because you knew how good your horse was and you didn't move him. You came here to race. It's the last race of the year. You're not leaving anything on the table. You took your shot and you got beat. It's a very optimistic way to look at it. Then there's the other voice saying, well, yeah, maybe you're right, but you did lead the 2-hole and didn't go by the horse in front of you. You're an idiot. It's racing. At the end of the day, I knew, I've always been the guy where I've never been scared to take a chance. I've never been scared to put it all out there. And I will drive horses like that again. And I'll probably have this conversation with myself again at some point down the road. But I did come here to race. So overall, we did okay, I guess. I think the Galaxies will bounce back. There's no lameness issues. I was very, very happy that she didn't bleed. There's no mucus found. So for sure, she either tied up, washed out, or, something was going on. There's nothing, was it the 4-hour ship in the heat? 100% it could have been. Amy said that going to the gate, Smoking Hot Irish Girl was just covered in lather. Well, it's a lot. Ship a long way in the heat, go out there and race. It's a lot to ask. So probably it was just a little too much for Thinking Galaxies. Good news is, she's going to race at the Meadows again. Just didn't get any money tonight. When it came to Irresistible Sun, at least we were third. A piss poor drive, but he was third. Sweeney, for my partner Joel, James screwed us. He stayed in Kentucky. He was late getting there. But it didn't matter. Kane drove the horse perfect. Drove the horse great. And was just beat. 2 lengths? Horse raced good. And he's going to be a nice 3-year-old. What a mission. Year's over. His stake life is over. But make no mistake. The horse still fits now where's a 4. Now where's a 5. Now where's a 6. There's lots of racing for What a Mission. Lots of racing for Smoking Hot Irish Girl, and there's no issue with those horses. I see that Sunset Acres Girl was second tonight. I think that's her last race. Somebody said I think there's one more, but I don't believe so. I think she was second tonight to the filly. I think that one of the ones that beat her earlier on, or beat her at some point. And again, picked up $5,000. Not a bad night. Pretty good night. And then I just watched Serious Dragon Race. It's tough to gauge out of the 8-hole. We bought this horse for that class. And, if you're 6th best or just not good enough, fine. James thought he was good enough 3 weeks ago. Last week he was flat. It was tough to gauge. Tonight they went 50-3. He never really got him started. This is a horse you got to get him rolling. You got to get him in the mix. You got to get him race him like James did his second start. His first start there. Quarter pulled him to the front, raced him. He wasn't great that night. He's better now. But you can't race him like that. He's not a getaway 8 that kind of slither his way through. You're not going to make him into a Mohawk horse. He's a half-mile or a 5/8 horse. You got to race him as such. So, and not taking anything. What was Scotty going to do? Leave? No, we couldn't do that. We got to not draw the 8-hole. So I'm going to give him a reprieve. He's going to have to draw 3, 4, or 5 and get raced. If he's not good enough, then fine. We can go race him in that class at the Meadows. No big deal. It's not the end of the world. He's going to be a useful horse, but I don't want to continue to waste starts and waste money. So if Serious Dragon can't compete, if he draws a better position, if he can't compete, then fine. We were off by a little bit. Because he is a decent horse. He's going to do somewhere. If he can't do in there, fine. He can't do in there. So that's the plan with that guy. And then we still have Renegade Gypsy and No Free Lunch to go. I had a ton of really, really nice yearlings I looked at today. And I don't want to, obviously we're not going to pull our pants down. We'll talk about in-house. We'll talk about some of the babies that I liked and some of the ones I really liked. We'll do the videos right before the sale. We'll start posting some of those videos for people to look at. I will talk to you about the horses I want to look at. So a good look at a number of horses. We only looked at 2 consignments today. Tomorrow's going to be a marathon for Amy and I. We got Hunterton, Springhaven is there. Crawford is there. We're going to look at some of their horses. Everybody. We're going to look at every consignment tomorrow. We only looked at 2 so far. So it's been a lot of fun in Kentucky. It's going to bite me. I mean, I can, talk it through with you guys, but the irresistible sun thing is really going to bother me for a while, so I'm sure it'll bother my partners, and I do apologize. But all of us have to turn the page and move on. I've had a good year. I've had 15 people come up and said, man, Pickpocket race good. You drove them great. Yeah, I'll go back and watch that race. It happens. So with that, I'm going to let you go. Nevertheless, a third, a fourth, a fifth in the finals, the Buckeye finals in Dayton. Sunset Acres Girl was second in what I believe is her last start of the year. Might be wrong, might be one more, but I think that's it. Think of Galaxies just wasn't on our game tonight for whatever reason. I suspect I already know. Sweeney raced good, although he didn't get paid. He didn't get paid. He raced well, though. And then we still got Renegade Gypsy tonight from post 10. Tough spot for him. And No Free Lunch is actually picked to do well. So maybe we'll pull one out of the fire and get a W yet tonight. So a little soft for the next few days. We got Per Lucky racing on Sunday. And then we got Wallop back in action. He's picked to win again. Man, this has been kind of a fun ride with him. He's picked to win again going for 40 on Monday. And White Tiger, I suspect, is bet down. Oh, well, I can tell you right now. That's not going to tell me. Bet down on Monday evening also. So a lot going on, a lot of fun, but obviously everything culminates on Monday. The start of Lexington on Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday. This is it. This is the biggest sale of the year for us. This is what will make up the bulk of our, I keep saying this, but the bulk of our 2024 string of stake horses. For those of you in Ontario, I didn't forget about you. We saw 2 or 3 or 4 really nice Ontario breds today. We are going to be on the lookout down here for them also. Just a lot going on. So I will do an opening video, I think, and talk about some of the horses, talk about some of the things that I like and I saw, and some of the storylines that I think are unfolding here in Kentucky. Obviously, we have Pickpocket racing in the International Stallion at the end of the week. He will be heading to the Breeders' Crown. We've decided Arson and Memory Imaginations will be going to Corbin. We are going to have a few horses in Corbin. And I think, if I read the text right from Eric, Corbin's like an hour and a half from Lexington, from the Red Mile. So they may let us actually race in Corbin out of the Red Mile, which would be handy. We will then race maybe a few horses out of there. I would say up to 5. So with that, I'm going to let you guys go. I hope you're having a wonderful, what day is today? Saturday, a wonderful weekend. I know, I wish it was a better night, and I know that we all could be high-fiving virtually and celebrating Irresistible Sun, and that's going to have to lay on me for a while, but it is what it is. I do apologize. So with that, I'll talk to you all very, very soon, and I will do an opening video for you